Hey YouTube! I was actually planning on doing a video tonight about my path and my beliefs and how I came upon it, you know. And I probably will be later on tonight, but I felt the need to do a video on something else first. As you guys probably know, marijuana has become legal in Washington and Colorado. I had to stop and think for a minute there. And woohoo, yay, you know, let's party. I actually have smoked pot since I was 13, and I'm 22 now. Up until about a month ago, when I decided to quit for many reasons, health reasons, and just because, you know, it costs money, something that we're all short on, and like I said, health reasons. I want to be healthier, you know. I'm also trying to quit smoking cigarettes too. I've been clean for a month now, other than one tiny little time. But it was only a very, very little bit, like not even a whole bowl. But anyways, you know, I feel great. I'm very confident that I'm gonna stick with it. You know, of course, I've thought about it and wanted to do it, you know, but it's not really a strong craving. I don't really have that strong of a craving for it, which I'm thankful for. It's been a lot easier than I expected. So, you know, and God, I wish I wish I could still do it. I could still smoke, but my lungs are thanking me for quitting, so I'm gonna stick with it. Anyways, you know, marijuana is now legal in 2 states that I know of so far. And, you know, there's a lot of glamour to it. It's easy. It's really easy to get sucked into the glamour and say, let's get high, you know. But it's not as glamorous. It's really not as glamorous as America's making it out to be right now. And, you know, upon recent events in my life, it's really starting to worry me. You know, this is a big deal. Real big deal, and it's kind of scary because I don't think it's such a good idea. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, for people who have medical problems, you know, cancer, just to name one big medical problem, it's a great thing. It really is. It can help a person cope with their medical problems a lot easier. It can make it a lot easier for people. Makes them feel better. They can eat, you know, they can they can cope with it. But for people who don't need it for medical reasons, it's really not a good idea to be smoking a lot. Yeah, anything in moderation. I always say anything in moderation. You know, great. Have some fun. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But you really need to think about the negative side of things before you start doing it on a regular basis. It's really, it's not better than cigarettes for your lungs. It's not. Especially when you're doing it, or smoking it as often as you would smoke cigarettes. Yeah, if you're doing it once in a blue moon, and I mean once in a blue moon as in maybe once a month at most. Okay, that's one thing, but if you were to smoke it as often as you smoke cigarettes, you would see it's 10 times, 100 times worse than cigarettes for your lungs. And that's not to mention your mind, what it does to your mind, you know, especially if you start smoking it at a young age like I did. You know, I notice things about myself that probably would not be like that if I hadn't smoked weed as much as I have since as young as I started. It really does have a huge effect on your mind and your cognitive development, psychologically. Your brain develops a dependency on it, and if you say smoke it since you were a teenager and you're like 50 years old, your brain needs it, and you might as well just not quit, because you quit and it's gonna fuck with your head big time. You're not gonna be able to cope with life without it, period. And it really can mess you up. On a personal level, my mom has been smoking pot since she was a teenager, and she's now 50, and because of recent events in our lives, which just because of recent events in our lives, she's had to try and quit, and for financial reasons, and she was doing okay, you know, she would have her moments, and then she got a hold of it about a week ago and smoked a little bit, and that was it. She didn't do it again after that. But now today she has been in her room crying all day, just freaking out. And she was drinking, and then she took a nap before work, and just left for work at about an hour ago. And my dad goes back in the bedroom, and all the dirty clothes are thrown around the room. There's beer cans, there's cigarette ashes in the garbage can, the heater's turned way up, the windows open, the fan's blowing, and it's just gotten to the point where my dad says she's got to get out of here. He can't take it anymore. It's constantly walking on eggshells, and I understand, you know, what she's going through. Like I told my dad, I'm like, it'll be a miracle if she can give it up completely. You know, she's been smoking it for so long, but there comes a point in time when you can't make excuses for someone. You can't keep making excuses for them. And it's like, when she's smoking it, it's like she's not here, you know, she's somewhere else completely. My mom is not here. And when she doesn't smoke it, she can't cope with life without it. It's all she can think about. She can't find anything better to do with her time, you know. And she doesn't care. She doesn't give a shit about anyone or anything else other than the fact that she wants some fucking weed, and she wants it now, you know. And not just that she can't cope with life without it, but without it, she's not here without it either. When she doesn't have it, she's not here either. She's stone cold. Her face is expressionless. It's really sad. It's very sad, and it hurts very bad. And I just know that she's just gonna go back to doing it. There's no point, and that's a terrible thing to say. You know, you always want to be supportive of somebody when they're going through something like this, but with her, it's just a completely different story. It's just, I don't think it's a good idea for her to quit. Like I said, when you smoke it for that long, you can't just quit, because your mind needs it, your brain needs it. Your brain has developed a dependency on it. When you grow up smoking weed, when your brain's developing, it doesn't develop right. Your brain develops in a way where it now thinks it needs that drug to operate correctly. And when you stop smoking it, your brain doesn't operate right. So I know she's just going to go back to smoking it. And it's like, where is my mom? She's gone. You know? And that's really hard for me, because I've always been really close to her. And it's like, I don't know why I'm so close to her, because it's like she's not even a real human being. So that just totally makes it even different for me, myself quitting, you know. It's like, I never want to smoke it again. maybe one day, years and years down the road, maybe, you know, to have a good time. I don't even know if I'd want it then, you know. It's not worth it. I don't need it that bad. I can find other things to make myself happy. So I really felt the need to do a video on it, especially for younger people out there, you know, YouTube and Facebook. This is going on Facebook like all my videos do. You know, any young person out there, a teenager who's seeing this, you don't need it. You're so much better off without it. Trust me. I know that's something that everybody says. You know, this is your brain on drugs. Don't do drugs. Say no to drugs. You know, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. You don't really think about it because it doesn't seem that important to you because you're so young. But when you get older, you're gonna see what you're doing to yourself, and it's not easy to quit. It took me years to quit. And I'm so surprised. Like I said, I'm so surprised that I'm taking it so well, and I'm really, really happy. I'm really, really proud of myself. I gave it up. I really did. You know, yeah, I smoked a little bit when my mom got it about a week and a half ago, but I didn't really need it. I only smoked it because she had it, and it was my chance. And I felt bad for it. I felt guilty. I didn't need to do it, and I did it anyways. And you know, it could have made it worse for me, but I really feel strongly that I'm doing good, and I'm gonna keep doing good. And I'm so much happier without it. You know, I can think clearer. I can concentrate better. I'm not always doped up. And I was smoking it every day, all day, for years and years and years, since I was a teenager. So, my lungs were horrible. Think about it, you know, when you smoke out of a bowl and your bowl gets all resined up, look at that black shit in it. That's all the shit that's going in your lungs. And that bowl is so small. You know, and it just passes through it. The smoke just passes through it for a short period of time. Think about the effect it does on your lungs when you hold it in for as long as you do. It's just 10 times worse. Think of what your lungs must look like. And then if you run out of it, and like some people do, you scrape your bowl, which I used to do quite often, and you're smoking that black shit. And it melts down into your throat and into your lungs. I actually did it so much to one point where my lungs felt like they were sticking together. That's how terrible it is. So those are just things that you need to think about if you're a young person watching this. Think about that. If you're older, and maybe even older than me, you already know these things. Hopefully you don't do it as often as I used to. Sit and just bake your brain to death. Morning till night, you know, constantly. Marijuana being legalized is not as glamorous as they make it out to be. Stay away from it. You don't need it. It's just not worth the price you pay in the long run, and I ain't even talking about money. I can't say that enough, and I'm not going to sit and preach to people because I know that would just make me want to turn this video off. But I really feel strongly about it, and I want people to understand how bad it is. So I thought I'd make a video. Hopefully the right people watch it, and maybe it'll make a difference. Quit now while you can, if you even can right now. Well, I'm at 14 minutes and 20 seconds, and I can only do 15-minute videos, so I'm gonna sign off. I hope this enlightens you a little bit on how dangerous it really is to your mind, body, and soul. That's all for now. I'll do a video later on my path and my beliefs. Until then, love and light to all. Blessed be.